Hello, everyone, welcome back to the channel Global Times USA. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today, I'm going to walk you through a detailed review and breakdown of the horrifying event. Russia launches massive overnight strike on Lviv, killing civilians and damaging key infrastructure. We will treat this tragedy almost like a product review, looking at its exterior impact, interior i.e., internal consequences, performance, how it unfolded, safety features or lack thereof, unique aspects, price, human cost, and then wrap up with conclusions and reflections. Starting from the outside, the exterior impact was dramatic and devastating. Overnight, Russia launched waves of missiles and drones aimed at Ukraine, with Lviv among the principal targets. The city, which had long been relatively shielded from frontline fighting, was struck hard. Smoke rose over neighborhoods, power infrastructure was hit, roads and bridges were damaged, and residential buildings were reduced to rubble. Reports indicate dozens of missiles and hundreds of attack drones were used, stretching Ukraine's air defenses to their limits. In Lviv itself, entire blocks saw destruction, with windows blown out, facades collapsing, and debris strewn across streets. Key energy infrastructure, power plants, substations, transmission lines, were hit, plunging neighborhoods into darkness. The exterior visuals were grim: fire, smoke, shattered glass, twisted metal, walls blown out. Inside, the interior consequences run deep and wide. The interior here means the human lives, communities, critical systems, and social fabric. In those homes that were hit overnight, families were sleeping. The death toll includes civilians, men, women, children who had no forewarning or protection. Some reports mention entire families wiped out in their own bedrooms. Survivors recount the shock and horror, waking to explosions, ceilings collapsing, walls crumbling. Hospitals, too, were overwhelmed, emergency rooms filling with the injured, children in need of care, medical staff forced to work under duress, with damaged facilities or power outages complicating their efforts. The loss of electricity inside homes means lights, heating, communications, water pumps ceased to function. Medical equipment becomes useless. The interior of public buildings, schools, administrative centers, city services also suffered damage. Broken windows, structural cracks, collapsed walls, rendering many unusable. The interior of society is shaken: fear, trauma, displacement. Many have to flee, leaving behind possessions, uprooting lives. Interior networks like water, gas, sewage systems are likely compromised. Communication lines, phones, internet may be disrupted by damage to relay stations. The psychological interior of people's sense of security, trust in protection is shredded. Children growing up with the sound of sirens, adults lying awake waiting for next strike. The interior damage is harder to rebuild than brick and mortar. Looking at performance, that is, how the strike was executed, how effective it was, and how defense systems responded, we see a mixed picture. Russia's forces appear to have coordinated a multifaceted assault, using long-range missiles, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and swarms of drones. This saturation approach serves multiple goals: to overwhelm air defenses, to hit simultaneously multiple targets, and to sow confusion. Some missiles and drones were intercepted by Ukrainian air defenses, but not all. The fact that many penetrated defenses and caused damage testifies either to gaps in coverage or the scale being beyond what the defenses could handle. The strike's timing overnight favored surprise and reduced the ability of civilians to respond or evacuate. Reports say dozens of missiles were shot down, but dozens got through. In Lviv's case, the governor called this the largest attack on Lviv of the war, indicating Russia aimed to make a statement. The performance, from the attacker's point of view, achieved damage to infrastructure and loss of lives. From Ukraine's defense view, performance was partially successful in mitigation, but clearly stretched. Now, consider safety features, or more precisely, where safety protections existed or failed. Ukraine has built up air defenses over the course of the war, including anti-air missile systems, radar networks, early warning systems, and allied support systems. These systems function to intercept many incoming threats, saving many lives. But safety is imperfect. In regions farther from front lines like Lviv, coverage may be less dense, reaction time slower, and gaps more exploitable. Bunkers, shelters, underground facilities provide places for civilians to hide, but many homes lack such protection. Civil defense alerts and sirens attempt to warn people, but during overnight strikes, warnings may come too late. Hospitals and critical infrastructure sometimes have backup power or redundancy, but large hits to energy grids can overwhelm them. Communication systems may fall back to backup networks, but those too can be vulnerable. In essence, the safety features in place are real and have saved lives, but are not enough to prevent damage when attacks are massive and target networks themselves. Turning to unique selling points in this dark context, the term is ironic, but we can think of what sets this strike apart from others. First, scale. The breadth and intensity of the strike across multiple fronts was unusually large. The mixture of missile and drone attacks in high volumes is a distinctive operational signature. Second, targeting strategy. Russia appears to have focused not just on military or logistic nodes, but heavily on civil infrastructure, energy, power grids, residential areas. That blurs lines and brings terror. Third, psychological element. By attacking a city far from the front lines, Russia sends a message that nowhere in Ukraine is fully safe. Fourth, timing. Overnight attacks exploit surprise and reduce civilian reaction capacity. Fifth, resilience challenge. By hitting interconnected infrastructure, power, communication, transport, the strike forces a complex recovery response, making rebuilding slow, risky, and costly. When we speak of price, the human and material cost, the number is staggering. Lives lost, civilian deaths including women, children, families, injuries, many people maimed, burned, trauma wounds, displacement. Many must evacuate, losing homes, possessions, livelihood. Infrastructure cost, repairing power lines, transformers, substations, transmission towers, water and sewage networks, roads, bridges, buildings. Economic cost, business interruption, loss of productivity, disruption of services, increased budget pressure. Social cost, trauma, psychological scars, disruption of schooling, healthcare delays. The price is paid by everyday people in their bodies, minds, communities. The price is also reputational and diplomatic. Condemnation, sanctions, geopolitical tension. But for victims, that's small consolation. Bringing it all together in conclusion, this massive overnight strike on Lviv is a terrible milestone in the war. It underscores the brutality of conflict, the vulnerability of civilians, and the limits of protection even in well-defended societies. The exterior damage is shocking, the interior consequences are profound and long-lasting. The performance of the attack revealed both the strengths and vulnerabilities of defensive systems. Safety features exist, and they saved lives, but they cannot fully prevent harm when the scale is overwhelming. The unique aspects of this raid, its intensity, reach, and psychological message, make it stand out. And the price paid is human and material, heavy beyond simple accounting. As we reflect on this, it is vital that we not treat such tragedies abstractly. Each damaged home, each lost life, each suffering individual demands empathy, attention, and action. The international community must continue supporting protection, reconstruction, and peace efforts. Ukraine must rebuild, defend, and heal, and we must remember that war's review is never about specs and features alone. It is about real people and real loss. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.